Hey bro, I've got one of my clients here today. He's actually one of the best in London and he's got amazing results after we did the training together. And I brought him here to share his experience with you, to share basically where he was before he found out about game and his journey and the kind of results that he got. Ben, do you want to introduce yourself and tell the guys about your story?
Sure, Nav. Hi, everybody. Uh, Thanks, Nav, for having me. If my story, my experience will resonate with somebody and will help out somebody, it will be my pleasure.
No, I think your story is actually really good, and from all the guys that I've taught and all the guys that are watching, I'm sure it's going to motivate them and help them realize that this is possible.
Absolutely. I think, if nothing more, pretty much if I was able to improve and get to where I am today, then anybody can, for sure. We can start with a little prehistory. When I was before arriving to London, I was 31 or 30 when I arrived, so that was quite late in my life. And the experience that I had generally with relationships with women was very close to zero, pretty much. I only had one relationship for a few months, and that's it.
Yeah.
So before arriving, it was pretty much nothing.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been there, right? When we were just completely shit. I mean, I was there as well when I was in uni. Yeah, I was exactly in your shoes as well. Like I had no clue. I was just like, man, is this even possible to like learn this and stuff? So yeah, we've all been in that situation.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere, don't you?
Yeah.
I guess when I reflect it now, it seems like arriving to London and to the UK in general was like a hard reset button for my life in many different ways. I would like to just mention that a few of the issues that I was having was obviously anxiety when you are not happy with your life in many ways and you can't identify one sticking point and you just get anxious. I was called angry by a few of my friends, and interestingly, I didn't recognize that at the time, but now when I remember these times, that was surely true. Uh, One thing I remember being was I was quite apathetic. I thought quite a few things are not good in my life, and then I said last thing I want to bother about was women. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm not even gonna try. It was a dark place, man. And luckily, that story changed, as we are gonna talk a little bit later. Long story short, I came to the UK, came to London. Well, actually, I was living outside London in the beginning. Um, when I realized that that was a problem that I wanted to sort out in my life, I was doing some research on. I wasn't aware of the game, as you call it. I was looking for general advice how to meet women, how to bring them into your life. And once I did a little bit research, obviously, it wasn't super difficult to find that there is an entire industry on this.
Oh yeah. So how did you actually find out about this? I never asked you.
Very quickly, I thought, I started Googling literally, how do you meet women on the bus, on the tube, on the train, something like that.
Yeah.
There wasn't much, but then there was a magic word, how do you meet women on the street? And then the information just started popping out. That was huge.
That's interesting because the way I found about this stuff was I searched how to get laid with women, and then the game popped up. It was like a PDF of the game.
Yeah.
So that's interesting what you said about like how to It's always like how to, isn't it?
How to do
You always do that, like, oh, how to, you know?
How do you do this?
And what did you come across? Just like YouTube videos or?
Yeah, I realized there is an entire industry pretty much on this, and one thing that was a little challenging for me, it was overwhelming amount of information. It was difficult to pick something that resonates to you. I guess one thing about me is that I am a very much introvert, even more previously, and I found this coach Tom Torero and his book Street Hustle. Rest in peace, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that was tragic. What happened?
It was
But
few months
he was
ago.
a legend, so
Surely was. Yeah.
his name will always be remembered.
Unfortunately, yeah, we are recording this a little bit too late. I wish I had a chance to share the experience, how much impact he had on me. Anyway, the beginning was reading The Street Hustle, the book. It was very hard for me to do it in the first time because I was reading it and just realizing how the social dynamic work between people, between men and women. It was opening up my eyes, and I started to realize little by little how many opportunities I had in my life. Things like a girl would say, I want to study with you. She would come over to my dormitory room in the uni years. I literally had no clue how to do anything, how to talk to her. So we studied, she left. Things like that.
She was on your bed, and you guys were studying naked. I'm joking. And then she left.
We were... Yeah, literally, man. There is not an exciting story behind this. She left after we studied. Right, so long story short, it was a very difficult read for me. I read the book first time. I was just trying to digest the information. I had to read it second time to actually absorb the information because first time it was just an emotional shock, if you will. Eventually, I realized that I have to do something as a first step from that point, and I remember I tried to convince myself I want to talk to a girl. I remember attempting to do my first approach. My heart was beating so badly, I realized I wouldn't be able to talk. It was...
Oh yeah, I remember
quite
that
something.
happened to me too. I did an approach and I was speaking, but I was so like stiff and so tense. I felt like I was gonna die or something. I was like, you look nice, but like she's like, okay, like you look like you're about to shit yourself or something. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, we laugh now, but at the time, it's basically like you're about to do like a bungee jump or something when you approach.
Quite literally.
It's insane. Yeah.
What was actually helpful for me as a first big step, I found a wing in Oxford. He is a slightly older guy, but he invited me to Oxford. We spent half a day maybe together, started going out, and I remember I did a few of my first approaches in Oxford.
Oh, that's interesting.
It was the beginning. It was nothing amazing there, but it was a very important step. And then little by little, when I moved to London eventually, we would go out with a few people, a few wings. Interestingly, quite quickly, I found my first girlfriend in London, which was a Chinese girlfriend, yes.
Okay.
Very, very
That's
beautiful, very
interesting.
pretty.
So
Yeah,
you actually got some results early on.
very early on.
Wow,
It
that's
was,
good.
I think it was maybe a couple of months in. And I approached her in Central in front of Harry Potter Theatre.
Oh, at Leicester Square.
Not, it's
Little bit,
deeper,
like Soho.
deeper, yeah, into
Okay.
Soho, yeah. She was
Yeah.
waiting for a bus. We started chatting, we started dating, and soon we were just seeing each other only. Very pretty girl, queen of beauty of school and uni. So it was quite
Okay.
something, yeah. I
That's-
thought that was an easy game to do.
That's interesting. That's actually not that common from my experience, from all the guys I've taught. They don't usually get a result that early unless they take some type of coaching. But I mean, it does obviously happen. You can meet the right girl because at the end of the day, girls, they have, problems meeting guys too. And if you approach a girl who's, I don't know, maybe hasn't dated a guy, whatever, for a long time, and you might not be like at that point. I mean, I don't know how your approach was, but I know in the first couple of months I wasn't, like that good. And I didn't actually get that many results early on, but I know some guys have, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like some girls, where you just approach the right girl, the chemistry's there, and everything works. So that's actually, yeah, that's interesting to hear that you can get results that early on in your journey.
I would say, yeah, when you are saying that you don't know how my approach was, obviously it was nothing spectacular. It was a basic conversation, but the important bit is that you actually do take action, and if that woman is available to meet somebody, she will make it easier for you. So as long as you don't do something fundamentally stupid, she will help you out. That was early days. Obviously, she was a student here in London. After a while, she had to leave. Have to leave back, and there were some other fun stories around that time. And that's when Navid comes into place. Navid was on one of these WhatsApp groups that I was on. He has very kindly organized a boot camp, which was an entire weekend with Navid and one other person. So it was almost exclusive one-to-one coaching, which was amazing.
Well, the way we actually met was through a seminar I did, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I was already on your group.
Yeah, I was in a WhatsApp group, and then we did the seminar. I think you were in the seminar. Is that? Oh, you weren't on the seminar.
Actually, yes, you have announced it on the seminar. It was similar time in the year. It was sometime autumn. I would like to share a few of my experiences with working with Nav, or being a student of Navid at that point. I think one thing that helped me a lot was just seeing how somebody else can do it and how normal it is, because especially me including many other guys are struggling with this perception that talking to a stranger is something not good, not normal, and it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you live in somewhere like London, right?
It's a very anonymous city.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess just seeing somebody else doing that and having this win-win situation when you are going in, you are having something positive out of the conversation, and the girl has a lovely conversation as well. It's a win-win situation, and seeing that just proves to your mind that, yeah, it is fine. There is nothing wrong with it. Technically, I think you have helped me in many sticking points in the conversation. Obviously, sometimes I would run out of things to say, or I would talk bollocks in the conversation. I think you have recognized some of these areas, and in the beginning it's very helpful to somebody to just guide you through the learning process. Also, just absorbing me from the side. I think it was very helpful when I got your feedback on the body language, on the distance. Sometimes you don't realize it, you don't feel it, but just because you are very nervous, you may be quite far from the other person when you are having a conversation. And when you think about it in your normal mind, not nervous mind, you realize this is silly.
Yeah.
But if you are there in the moment, you might not realize it, and that's where the coaching can be quite helpful.
Oh, that's totally true. You can't be in an interaction and analyze yourself at the same time. Even though sometimes I've tried to do that. When you actually do that, it hinders your performance because you're not in the moment. So that's the thing. You got to be in the moment and be in the interaction. Then after, you could analyze yourself, right, and then write down some points like, oh, this is what I did wrong. Problem is, you might not even know, like, if you made a mistake if you're new, right? Probably now you do. But when you're new, you might not even know that, okay, this was a mistake, or, my voice wasn't loud enough, because you're not even thinking about that. You don't even know if your voice was good enough or not. And that's what my coach also did with me, was he would tell me all these points that I actually didn't even know that I was doing wrong. Right? He was like, "Oh, Nav, your energy is fucking, awful in the beginning. It's just shit." And I actually didn't even know that. So that's actually one of the things that completely transformed my results, was just realizing how much a coach, that someone that's good with this stuff, can actually give you feedback on like a couple minute approach. I was actually shocked, because they break it into detail. They say, "Oh, this is, this is this." And when you're in there, you're like, "Oh, I didn't even know." I was like, "Didn't know that I mistake, Yeah, it's insane.
It's surely it's helpful when somebody can watch you from the side and recognize even the obvious points. But as you said, you don't become aware of it because you can't do multiple things at the same time. Obviously, we had some theory about how do you communicate with a woman on the texts, on how do you invite her out to go on a date.
Yeah.
Basic stuff. We had many questions which Navid has kindly answered. It was very helpful. One tip, again, just coming back a little bit, I remember you mentioned this to me when we were approaching, and you mentioned that when you are a lower energy person, more of this introvert type, so don't try to be higher energy, but just own it. Maybe curse a little bit, and after that, it immediately made the difference. I think things like that, I wouldn't come up with that in a million years at that point. So yeah, it was very helpful.
Yeah, because it's not about, like, everyone is different, right? Just because, I don't know, one day you're drunk or whatever, and you go to a bar and you have a lot of energy. Yeah, every day.
For breakfast. Yeah, for breakfast.
Well, you're from Lithuania, so I guess that's a tradition, isn't it?
Yeah. 3 times.
So yeah, what I was saying is, just because you're naturally a person that likes to chill, doesn't mean that, oh, now when you meet the girl you have to be fake. That's what I was saying. And a lot of my clients, and I'm sure the guys that are watching this will resonate, is everyone is like, their personality is different, right? So you have to obviously become more enthusiastic in the beginning, but it doesn't mean you have to become a different person. That's just in the first 5 seconds anyway, the first 5-10 seconds. But the rest of the interaction, you just got to be yourself, because people will know if you're fake. That's the problem. And that's what I was saying with you.
It's not a problem even, it's a reality.
Yeah, exactly. I've done this on many occasions where I try to be someone else. I don't own it. I'm like, oh, this girl is special. Let me do this. Let me do that. Try to be different, right? And they can tell, just like we can tell. If I was being fake now, you'd be like, nah, why are you putting this fake front? That's the thing about humans, right? They can quickly tell, oh, this one's being fake. It's like an instinct.
Especially women. They can read it multiple times than we can.
100%. Yeah. Women are much better at that. Yeah. Is there anything else about the training that you want to share? Because I remember the result you got, that was on the bootcamp, wasn't it?
I'm glad you asked me.
Dan, I was watching it. I remember that one. It was in Whole Foods, right? Oh, that's a different one.
Westfield, I think.
Westfield, yeah. Yeah, so do you want to talk about that? Or anything else that you want to share?
Well, again, I guess maybe a little bit of a beginner's luck. But during my time with Navid that day, I met my future girlfriend at the time. We started dating pretty much immediately after boot camp. We have been together for about half a year. Very positive and inspiring relationship for me. Unfortunately, I have to admit that I didn't appreciate it enough. As I said, I had some issues from before, so I wasn't able to acknowledge fully what I was having at the moment. It was many good moments, but many of the things that I realized was only after the relationship was ended. So it was, I don't think you could expect a better result for, in my case personally, because I was willing to find somebody, and with your help I was able to do so, which was perfect.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, I remember because we spoke maybe 1 month or 2 months after. After
It
that.
was less, man.
Was it less?
I think we have decided to be together in about 3 weeks. Yeah.
No, I meant we spoke. We spoke.
Oh, right, yeah.
And you said, I remember you sent me a message and you was like, "Oh, I'm just so happy in this relationship," and no, that was really good to hear. So obviously that was the result you wanted to get.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I stopped going out just because I was spending my time with her.
Yeah. Well, that's what you told her, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to lie to the guys. I stopped going out, guys. I stopped going out once a week. The rest of the week, 6 days, I was still out. So I just shortened just as a respect for her. No, that's really good. I mean, I personally didn't do that in the last 8 years, only because I wanted to really master this. But at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? And eventually, I'm obviously going to settle down, whether it's in 5 years' time or whenever. My goal is obviously to settle down and get married, and to have kids and stuff. And and that's probably the best result you can get, to find a girl, you go in a happy relationship, and you can. I remember you said you were focusing on like your work and stuff. That's actually one of my clients now. He's an entrepreneur and he's expanding the business, so he's super busy with the work. And I told him, "Oh, listen, if you go in a relationship, it's actually good for you, not in like a drama relationship where the girl, makes whatever, makes all these crazy dramatic moments and stuff where that needs a lot of your attention, but girls that will support you, that are also busy themselves, and they support you in your quest in entrepreneurship, in your work, in your career and stuff." And I told him, "Listen, you gotta, if you go into a relationship," because he also met a girl that he really liked, and I said, "If you do that, that will actually help your business, because with what we do, like when you're out and approaching and stuff, that obviously takes time. It's kind of like gym, right? If you're going to the gym to grow your muscles, it's gonna take much more time than if you're just maintaining the muscles, right? Maybe if you're maintaining the muscles, you might go twice a week, right? I mean, I'm not an expert in muscles, but I'm just saying as an example. You go twice a week, but if you want to grow it, you gotta go 5 days a week, right? So, and that's the same with us, right? If you have a girlfriend or whatever, you might see her once a week, right? I'm busy with business, whatever, let's meet, on the weekend. But if you want to do this, then you've got to go out quite a lot, especially in the early stages. Once you become good, you don't have to, right?
But I guess to your point, you have to commit some energy, some time, and some effort into this.
Yeah.
To actually improve.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to do something different if you want to change, right? Otherwise, if you just sit on your sofa and swipe on Tinder.
Magic doesn't happen without effort. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well that was beautiful about that result that you got. So, is there anything you want to add? Any tips you want to give to the guys, or anything else you want to share?
I guess I would like to add a few moments about my general experience, not only my personal, but because, well, Navid, one of the good things why I do enjoy being a student of Navid sometimes is that he is not only a good coach, but he's a good guy to be around. He is organizing dinners for the students. He has the WhatsApp group. I met quite a few very good guys that I go out quite often with, and we became quite good friends. So it's an extra dimension to what we are doing here, where actually you are improving your life in many different ways. The feedback that I have received from you and many other guys, not saying names, but they are reflecting this on you, is that obviously you are skillful, you're good at what you're doing, but you're also good at teaching. This feedback, and I can be a witness, sometimes when you are early in your journey, you can very easily be overwhelmed with a coach when he is saying that you are doing this and this and this and that 20 items wrong.
Yeah.
And you can't solve them all at once. I liked that you have been able to pick up the sticking points or the most important points that help you progress the fastest, and then little by little you sort the rest as well. You're working on it. Good work ethics. We have I've heard feedbacks when coaches are quite ignorant, late. Everybody was saying, yeah, go out with Navid. He will really help you out, and me including. You help in a way that the guy is willing to improve, or these particular aspects he's willing to work on. Very concentrated and very I guess professional in that way.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add something. That's a really good point about you like meeting the guys and going out with the guys. Because one of the philosophies I have is to become successful in whatever you want to do, you have to be surrounded with like-minded people. And that's what I try to do with my inner circle. And actually, for you that's watching, you can join my inner circle. It's on school.com, and we do Zoom calls every week. So if you want to meet new guys, it's from all around the world. You can join that. I'll put a link somewhere for you to join. But that's essentially what happens to all my clients. They'll meet my other clients, and obviously the ones that you get on with the most. And because all you guys, you're in the top 1% of men out there because you're improving yourself, right? So what happens is when you hang around with someone that's also successful like yourself, you guys push yourself to become better, right? And that's actually a complaint I get a lot. It's like, oh, my friend doesn't like meeting new people, and we go to bars and they just sit in the corner and don't do anything. You know, sometimes they even judge me when I speak to a girl, but when I bring two girls back, they're so hungry and they're trying to like take the number or whatever. But you know, these guys, and you know what I mean, right? I mean, we've all met these guys before, and the problem is if you hang around with those type of guys, you're going to become like them too, because you are the average of 5 people that you hang around with. And that's one of the things I always done with the clients that I've coached, is try to set them up with someone similar to them. And that's basically what the inner circle is about. And I've made that free now, so if anyone wants to join, they can join and meet new people on there.
I would like to finish on high and share my latest experience. And this is gonna sound bizarre, but the last girlfriend that I met was in the middle of Oxford Street. So this is not where you would expect to meet somebody that you can relate to very well. I guess it's just too unusual. But with her, we have been together for a few months, and then she had to leave the country. But that was by far the best relationship I had, and the level that I was able to connect to with a woman was by far the highest. And I was almost surprised by myself that am capable and that I am able to achieve this.
That's happened to me actually before. Yeah. When you meet a girl and you're just like, wow, this is my dream girl, and like I can't actually believe you know, she's with me like on a date or whatever, and it's just like you're like, wow, I can't believe how much I improved and stuff, right? But that's what's possible if you know, it's hard. You know, if some of the guys are watching and they're struggling to make an approach, it's hard for them to believe that one day you can actually date your dream girl. Just like for me, I remember when I was on a date with this Russian girl, and she was so attractive that when we walk into like a venue or something.
Casino.
Huh?
Casino.
Did I tell you about it? Did I tell you about the casino situation?
The security guy was telling me about it. He said Navid once brought this stunner. Yeah, but true story. I mean, obviously not the guy told me about it, but he remembers now Navid by his face just because he was so attractive that he remembers you by the looks of the girl.
Yeah. I remember because we go into this casino a lot just to rest and get water and stuff, not to gamble or anything, but it's got really good bars for the guys that are not from London. And I guess in Las Vegas it's the same as well. They got like incredible bars in the casino floors. Anyway, that guy, the security guard, when I brought the girl there, he was like this. He was like, how the fuck, like, did you end up with her? Like, what the? And the funny thing is, I wanted to share one thing here, is at that time, financially, I was doing really bad. I was like in debt and stuff because I just transitioned from my like 9-to-5 job to coaching. And I also invested in a property with my brother. So I was like, fuck knows how much in debt with like credit card and stuff. And I was just there with that girl, and I was like, okay, well, I'm like whatever amount, like 9K or something in debt. And she was telling me about guys that are like multimillionaires that she's dated. And then I was just there like, yeah, I can buy this tea, but I can, tap water. So
the most memorable tap water.
Yeah. Oh, and this is what I was going to share. And we went to this bar or this restaurant or whatever, I can't remember. And everyone was looking at her, and that actually made me a little bit like nervous because I mean, obviously, when you date an attractive girl, people look at it, but not to that extent. Like everyone was just looking at her, and I was like, I've never experienced that level of social pressure. I don't know what you'd call it. And that was like a moment where I was like, wow, this is actually insane. Like I'm here in debt, and she's telling me she's dated all these like fucking billionaire Russian guys, and that's what's possible with game, So no, that's a really inspiring story about you meeting this girl. And what's funny is that girl that I was dating, she also left the country. So because of COVID.
Right.
COVID here, she was studying, she didn't have to go to lectures anymore, and basically she left. So yeah.
Well, here we go. I guess stories like this, especially, I'm not sure how was your situation before, but as I mentioned, I started at a very, very weak and bad point. But then the progress, when you think about it, what the level of change in your life is quite incredible.
Yeah. Oh, and actually it's funny because a client I was coaching earlier, he was saying that the development he got outside of his dating life was actually more worth than the dating stuff. I mean, every guy has obviously a different goal. Sometimes we come in it and there's some guys that have kind of conquered the business world, they're making crazy money, but their dating life is not doing well, and then they just want to do well in the dating. And then like myself, I wasn't conquering any part. Anything you want to add, any tips you want to give to the guys about your journey and how they can improve with their dating life, and how they can actually get the type of results that you got?
I guess one thing I would like to mention is when you're learning a skill, try to stick or try to find something that makes sense to you Don't try to copy somebody else. Don't try to be somebody else. Be the best version of yourself, and listen to things and adopt the things that make sense to you. Secondly, obviously, coaching is very, very helpful. It's like a shortcut to your journey. Somebody else helping you out on this is going to make you progress much, much faster, incredibly faster. Wings do help as well, but the coach helps even more.
Can I just share a story at this point? So about 2 years ago, I did a free coaching taster session with Yad, and we had about 20 students there. And most of the guys signed up to the coaching, and they, just like yourself, they did really well. One of the guys I saw recently, and I said, "Oh, how did you do? Like, how was?" I was like, "He's like, oh, just been the same. Like, I'm getting the same results than I was before." And I said, "Oh, like, well, you didn't take up any coaching?" He said, "No, he didn't take up any coaching with me, but maybe I thought he's going to do coaching with someone else, but he didn't." And I said, "Oh, have you been going out like consistently and approaching?" He said, "Yeah, I have." And I was like, "That's fucking insane. He wasted 2 years of his life because he didn't want to pay whatever, 1 week of his wages, right?"
I wouldn't call it payment. It's an investment into
It's
yourself.
not- yeah.
It's like an investment into any other area of your
Oh,
life.
it's insane, bro. Because he wasn't poor or anything. He had the latest iPhone. He would rather buy the latest iPhone for whatever £1,000, but he wouldn't put that into himself. When, for a fact, I know if he did, he would have been satisfied. He would have been much happier. He didn't look happy because he had the mindset of whatever coaching. Yeah, and he did sign up to the coaching finally after 2 years of wasting his life. But that's what I did actually. Funny enough, I did 2 years without coaching, and I had such small progress. And then when I got coaching, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that in few hours only, Yad could actually tell me things that I didn't even know in 2 years. And since that day, I promised myself anything that I want to achieve, whether it's business or even fitness or anything, I'm going to get help. But from obviously the right guys. Because as you said, there are coaches out there that sometimes they're not. Yeah. But to be honest, every decision I've made to get a coach, in the beginning, I wasn't really sure. I was like, okay, I don't even know if this person is actually going to completely transform my dating life or whatever, business or whatever. But it always ended up right. I don't know why. Obviously, I did my research and made sure that's the right person. But it always ended up right. And
I think you're doing taster sessions as well, right? So if a person isn't sure if that's if your coaching suits somebody's style of expectations, you just give it a go. Do it 1 hour, see how it goes.
That's the reason I do the taster session, so that
You're not risking anything. Just
and also I like to work with people that firstly I know that I can improve. I wouldn't like to work with anyone that I don't think I can improve.
Yeah.
So that's why I do the taster session, to make sure we get along, because that's important, as a coach. And they can try my coaching as well, So they can try it for free, and then if they think, oh, this is good, then they can carry on, right? So you watching, if you do want to book that taster session with me, I'll put my email below so that you can contact me for a completely free taster session. Whether in London, we can do face-to-face in person, or if you're anywhere else in the world, we can do a Zoom video call. And we can go through what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, and what you have to change to get the result that you want. So it's as simple as that. Okay, so did you want to continue with what you were saying?
Yeah, a couple of points. I would say, especially in my case, if somebody listening is similar to my story and my journey, I would say be realistic with the expectations. Don't expect, like in any other craft, if you are going to the gym for the first time, don't expect to lift the heaviest weight. If you are going to the martial arts class, don't expect to beat the guy who was there for 10 years. Here as well, it takes time to develop the right habits, to develop the right mindset, and to develop the right well, to get the techniques right. So many layers of that, and just be realistic with yourself, where you are, and don't compare yourself to other guys that are around. Compare yourself to yourself yesterday, and just make sure you are making a progress. And lastly, actually take action. You can quite easily get stuck in the procrastination when you just keep reading, keep thinking about it, but not doing anything. In order to learn to swim, you have to go into the water.
Yeah.
There is
Not
no other
read
way.
a book about it.
No, you can't learn
Yeah.
it. So just you have to know some basics and some theory, I guess, how to have a just generic conversation and how to do it. But very quickly you have to actually do it, otherwise you won't progress.
Yeah. No, that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. And we'll wrap it up there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Signing out, Nav and Ben.
He's good.